Welcome back to another Kitchen Table Wargaming Battle Report. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a while. We are going to be running the Grey Knights against the Tyranids. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is kind of my pseudo-warlord, but he is the one with the actual warlord trait because of battalions and detachments purposes. So he'll have first to the fray. And he's a Brotherhood champion, so he's just kind of going to run around and try to kill stuff. And then, of course, we have the big old winged Hive Tyrant. That'll be lots of fun, right? And we'll get into more of what each of these units does when we go over our army list. So this is just your little intro. Here's what we're playing. We are running the new rules, the Crusher. Is that what it's called?
That's
Crusher.
right. So this is a High Fleet Behemoth army. Sorry, I don't run Leviathan, but we are running the new Crusher Stampede. So we'll be trying that out and seeing how that does against Grey Knights today.
Yeah, that's going to be sassy. All right, we'll be back to show you the armies in a second. All right, folks, here we go with the Grey Knights. Today I'm running a battalion and a spearhead. I do start with 8 command points still, but it is chancy. So coming back around to the Brotherhood champion, he will be the warlord. He has first to the fray. He will, I believe he takes Gate of Infinity. Brother Captain for the reroll 1s to wound aura, and he has a Sanctuary. And then Drago has Gate of Infinity, and I believe I gave him Vortex of Doom. I'll double check that in a minute. So they're going to do what they do. This is a Rapier's battalion. So we got 3 strike squads, and then we have a 10-man interceptor squad. And then we have the Spearhead, which is Sword Bearers. So we have the Grandmaster Dreadknight. He is getting the Obsec aura for the +1 command point, gives him a warlord trait. He has the Foretelling of Locust to redeploy at the beginning of the game. And he has the Sigil of Exigence, so he can disappear if he's targeted and reappear elsewhere. We have a Brotherhood Tech Marine, because that's cool. We have a 10-man Interceptor squad, because I have discovered that it's nice to be able to cast that Empiric Lodestone from somebody that can move faster than a Dreadknight sometimes. And then we've got 3 Dreadknights back here. These guys are exactly the same. Silencer, Psy Cannons. This guy is Silencer, Incinerator, and the Hammer. And that is it. It's exactly 2,000 points. I've tweaked it a little bit. I've been playing some other variations, and today I thought, why not try something sassy? Yeah, again, there's only 8 command points, but I think it'll be fairly effective. So we will go next to the Tyranids.
All right, so today we brought this Behemoth Crusher Stampede. So we have a battalion here, and just real quick recap of what the Crusher Stampede rules are. You lose your Hive Fleet adaptations, but you gain all of these guys. We'll have non-monsters will get a 5-up invulnerable save, and all monsters get a 5-up invulnerable save, also have -1 damage, and they count as a number of models on objective equal to the number of their remaining wounds. So those are the big things about running a Crusher Stampede. So we'll see how that affects this game. In this army, the Warlord is this Flying Hive Tyrant back here. He's taken a new Crusher Stampede Warlord trait called Rampaging Beast, which is once per turn in the fight phase. When he's selected to fight, he can get +D3 attacks. He also has the Behemoth Relic, the Sides of Tyran, and he also has the adaptation to get +1 strength, +1 damage, and an additional 1 AP on his weapons. So those are already damage 4, AP -4, and he's at strength 8 at this point.
Because that's nice.
And on a 6+ to hit, he gains additional hits. So we'll see how that works out. Yeah. Also, he has Toxin Sacks, so on a 6+ to wound, he'll do +1 damage. So you can go to damage 5 on those attacks. And he, yeah, he's a lot.
That's pretty funny.
He's a lot.
A little different than the old one.
Probably not quite as useful as the Leviathan Flyrant that can ignore invulnerable saves.
Yeah.
But this guy can get a massive amount of attacks and hit like a truck. And so I feel like in a majority of situations, he might be better. Still not better overall than just running a straight Leviathan army, but I'm a fan of Behemoth, so that's what we're doing today. We also have these other monsters here. The Swarm Lord, of course, to be able to slingshot one of my monsters across the board if necessary. Plus, he's just tough in melee with his 3-up invul. We have a Scythe Tyradule with his 18-inch 3d6 strength 6 AP -2 shots that auto hit, and his big sides. 6 attacks that are D3 +3 damage. We also have a Maliceptor. He's got the Behemoth Psychic Power, Unstoppable Hunger, which gives +1 to wound to a model. And he also has a 4-up invul. And then we also have the big Barbed Hyrule over there. And he's just got his 12 shots at Strength 8. Just, you know. But I like the range of the Barbed Hyrule. So I like Hive Guard, but I like having the range of the Hyrule so that he can pretty much reach out and touch things that might be trying to hide from the Hive Guard. Speaking of which, 2 units of Hive Guard, 5 models each. I like to run them in 6s usually, but number 1, it saves on points, and number 2, I find I can usually get done with 5 models what I need to get done.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking to the 5. It's a little bit easier to hide them without that last base, just blocking line of sight. So that's what we're running today for them. And then I've got 2 units of Tyranid, well, 3 broods of warriors total. 1 unit here has a Venom Cannon and Death Spitters. And then the other unit behind actually has Scything Talons only. I didn't model them on there, but I'll change that.
Oh
See.
my goodness.
Proxies,
Just
I know,
kidding,
I'm so
just
very sorry. And then all 3 warrior broods have the bioweapon bond synaptic link, so they can give +1 to hit to any other Tyranid unit within synapse range, basically. And then this big brood of 9 has Lash Whips for the most part, except for 3 with Barbed Stranglers and Bone Swords. And then the others have Death Spitters and Lash Whips and Bone Swords. And I also went ahead and gave them the Rapid Adaptation. It's a stratagem for Crusher Stampede that gives the Warrior Brood a 2+ weapon skill and 3+ ballistic skill. So it's not a +1 to hit.
9?
What's that? It's only on the unit of 9, yes.
Okay.
And it's a little bit different because it's not a +1, which means it can be combined with that bioweapon bond and actually get them hitting on 2s. So since I'm not running any kind of Chronos or any kind of Leviathan, anything that gives me rerolls, I'm going to rely a lot on those +1s to hit and trying to hit things on 2s here.
For sure. And then if you're not familiar with the Crusher Stampede business and why he doesn't have Termagants and the little, objective monkey guys, you have to take units that have more than 2 wounds, right? For your infantry
you can't have
models,
any 1 wound
and
infantry,
then
and
those
then
are equal to the number of your monsters.
Right, you can't
So
have
that's why
more
this is-
non-monster units than monster units. So you
Correct.
have to balance that out. I also forgot to mention psychic powers. So the Hive Tyrant, the Warlord Hive Tyrant, he has the psychic powers Catalyst and Onslaught, so he can give himself or any unit a 5-up Feel No Pain, as well as the Onslaught power to be able to advance and charge or move and shoot. And then the Swarm Lord is trying out 2 psychic powers from the Crusher Stampede rules, which are Synaptic Barrier to give another model a 4-up invulnerable save. That is model only, so if I tried to put it on something like a warrior unit, it would only work on 1 model in that warrior unit. Once that thing's gone, that's gone. But it's pretty handy on things like the Hyroduals if I think they're going to get slammed in combat. And then he also has the psychic power Aggressive Surge, which gives another model plus D3 attacks.
Oh, yeah. Sassy.
So that is my Crusher Stampede list. It is right at, it's not quite 2,000 points. It's 1998, but hey, that was a good year.
He's going to lose. I have 2,000 points. He doesn't. It's over.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fascinating list. It's going to be fun. It's going to be super fun. I don't have any predictions right now. I know that Ruben took this version very close to this list to a tournament recently and did pretty stinking well. So I'm a little nervous.
Not a Crusher Stampede, so it actually ran very differently.
Oh, okay.
And I did not have the 3 monsters in the middle, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll take.
But I did run a lot of these infantry. I did run 3 warrior broods. I did run the Hyroduals. I did run the 2 units of Hive Guard.
And looking at it, looked fairly similar. But yeah, this will be a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys enjoy the new rules for these guys. Having some fun with the Grey Knights. We'll enjoy their different things before they get Interceptors and Dreadknights nerfed into the dirt in a month. Potentially, I'm hoping that's not the case, but we'll see. So yeah, let's have fun. We'll be back in a second to show you the mission, the map, and the deployment zones. Okay, my friends, this is the Grey Knights deployed over here, somewhat strangely perhaps, but we did roll up mission number 23, which is the boxy, odd, doesn't go to the entire ends of the board thing. Interceptors are placed strategically so they're not in range to be shot by Hive Guard without Hive Guard moving. I don't know if that impacts them or not, but it seems better to do that than to not to. This dude in the open has the Sigil of Exigence, so if they want to shoot him, have at it. This mission is the one with 5 objectives. So you've got one, it's down there, there, and it's the same thing on this side. So this is a danger close mission. Both of us are equally concerned and amused by this mission. We don't have any idea what's going to really happen with this one. We got big squad of warriors in there, Hive Guard behind them. We've got our character mass mob in the middle with the barbed one has the flamer. Is that right? Barbed power duel?
The Scythe has the flame.
Scythe. So that's
he's
a
Scythe, he's
Scythe.
better in combat, more attacks, and he's got
Yes.
the heavy,
And then-
the super flamer.
That one back there has got the crazy long range 12 shots.
Yes, that is correct.
Silliness. More Tyranid warriors and more Hive Guard. And that's that. I have a Dreadknight, my champion, and a 5-man strike squad in Deep Strike. And we're going to see what in the world's going to happen. We will show you our secondaries here. I'm taking Bring It Down, Stranglehold, Purifying Ritual. I'm well aware that Purifying Ritual could be an amazing flop, as could Bring It Down. I don't know, guys. There's not really great secondaries in my mind on this mission. Maybe when the game's done, we'll be like, oh, duh, that would have been amazing. I don't know.
It's usually how that goes.
Yeah, usually. Ruben has Grind Them Down, Stranglehold, and Assassinate, because I do have a whopping 5 characters in my list.
Fun fact, this is the first time I've ever taken Grind Them Down with a Tyranid army.
Ayo! That is kind of frightening, too. And I think that's all we need to know. So now it is time for the important roll-off to see who will go first. And, yeah, let's see what the dices say. Go ahead, Ruben. You being the guest.
Alrighty. What we got? Ooh,
That's
a
an
2.
excellent start. Oh, I matched it.
Hey!
I didn't match it. I did worse than that. Well done, sir. So, huzzah. It's going to be Tyranid's turn 1, and we'll be back to see if anything remains after his exciting moving. I don't think it's going to be that devastating just yet, but it's getting warmed up. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, folks. That was a fascinating turn. I spent on Drago to have hexagrammic wards for a command point, so I was denying lots of things with Drago. Then everybody else denied except for a Strike Marine. So we shut down all the powers to buff him, and
You shut down every single
Everything.
power except for the 4+
Yes.
invulnerable save.
Except for his
right there.
4-up invul. So that was cute. Hive Guard did shoot into here. I knew he was going to shoot one of my things, so I did the True Silver Armor here. I lost 2. He did also pick up a Strike Squad over here, so that Strike Squad is dead with the double shoot, I will say. So it did cost him points for that. My Dreadknight that was here, he targeted it with the nasty Flamer of Doom over there, so I just teleported over here. And then the Hive Tyrant, being a Hive Tyrant, did the double move thanks to Swarmy, came over here, charged, made a 2-inch charge, and we had glorious combat, actually. After the first round of combat, my Dreadknight, the Grandmaster, had 9 wounds left. It was beautiful.
I failed all of 1 save.
Yeah, I failed 1 save. I punched the nasty Hive Tyrant back, and I only got 2 wounds through, but he failed both, and I rolled double 6s, reduced it by 1, so he took 10 wounds. If I'd been in my escalation tide, he would be dead.
If I was not a Crusher Stampede, he would also be dead.
That's also true. So it was fascinating, but then he double fought, killed my Dreadknight. I failed only 2 saves, but with the damage 5 and damage 4, it doesn't matter. That's
just
dirty.
enough.
It's dirty.
And he passed, what, 6 out of 8 saves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
still,
he was...
the 2
he
that
was,
got through were enough to knock him out.
He was rolling hot. So then these boys passed their morale. I should have just combat squatted, apparently. That's it. Like, just a... Whew. It was spicy. So I'm going to have to deal with that guy because he hits really bad. And then we got all this mess over here. Moved around. I've got stuff that I don't want to touch and I don't want to see. And it's going to be problematic.
Yep.
So
and at the
that's-
end of your turn, I got Stranglehold because I've got these
Yep.
3 objectives.
Yep.
And I also got Assassinate, and I killed 2 towards
yeah.
Grind Them Down.
Too true. So that's the end of turn 1. And we'll be back with Grey Knight's turn 1 next. Well, folks, I've done my hitting back as best I could. Mr. the Hammer Dreadknight walked his way over here, got the rerolls from Drago first, did a smite into that Flyrant, and killed him dead. I'm so excited.
So sad.
Yeah. I've spent all of my command points that were left in this turn. The Interceptor squad back here, 2-point teleport shunted up to here, cast Empiric Lodestone, and failed. I was very sad about that one. Then I spent my command point for them to then cast Ethereal Castigation so they could do their shoot move. So they killed 3, I think, out of that squad, and then moved back into here into the building. The captain then gave them Sanctuary. Then this 5-man squad, or remaining 5 men, moved over to be in range of that. They cast Purifying Ritual, so I got a point for that. My strike squad over here did not. They rolled a 4, because they're peanuts, I guess. We did a variety of things. We changed the tide of the warp, so we were in shadows, now we're in the tide of escalation. I don't remember if I rolled 6s to wound your dude. I have no idea. I don't think I did. The Dreadknight teleported over here with the hammer, then proceeded to go over here and take out 9 wounds off of him, right? Because you reduced it by 1, so he still took 9 wounds off of him.
9 wounds out of him.
And then, of course, that guy swung back and killed my Dreadknight, so that was cute. I did some chip shooting over into that Hyrule over there, and I killed 2 warriors that were inside the building, I think.
You killed 1 warrior and wounded another. He's down to 1 wound.
1.5. That is it. So it was not the best for me for scoring. It is a little grim. He got Stranglehold, Grind Them Down, and Assassinate all in that turn. I got 2 for Bring It Down, and then 1 on Purifying Ritual because these hooligans failed their ritual. And that was not even with a Shadow in the Warp for them. They just rolled a 4 because they're knuckleheads. That is it. So now we get to see some more hurting, and then we'll come back for a turn 2 summary for the Tyranids. Well, folks, Tyranids turn 2, it did the things I expected in some ways. So this Dreadknight died because it was kind of exposed. These guys died. However, I will proudly announce that it took both Hive Guard squads shooting at them to kill them, and it took everything else on the board shooting at him to kill him.
I can't believe one Hive Guard squad got 1 wound through one.
One Hive Guard squad, and I saved it. So yeah, the one squad was just not having it. The other squad killed them. Then over here, this Dreadknight took everything plus the double shoot from the Hive Guard squad. So he did all right. And yeah, Ruben, very mischievous. He advanced Mr. Maleceptor, so he was there in the board. He killed my Strike Marines that were over here, and then he double moved that fat guy to get there, so I can't deep strike my guys to hold an objective and even have a point. Even a point would be really nice right now. So what I'm going to do is kill everything in this turn, and then I'm going to score the rest of the game. That's how we're going to play this, because it's one of those. So he did pick up another 3 for Stranglehold. We'll see at the end of the round if he gets Grind Them Down and or Assassinate. So we'll be back in just a minute for Grey Knights turn 2. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Grey Knights, we did some things, and then I cried. My Interceptors, I'll tell you why in a second. They just kind of shunted forward. They did do Purifying Ritual. These Interceptors, for the second time in a row, failed to cast Lodestone onto that Hyrule back there, which would have been kind of nice. Trying to get a little more value out of my Dreadknight that deep struck. The Interceptor squad, they moved up here. Originally was going to charge the Swarm Lord, and then I thought, I could take an objective back if I go back that way, and they had full rerolls and all this jazz. And then what did I roll? Not a charge. I was very sad. Then I moved out Drago and the Captain and the Tech Marine up to the window. We did a little smiting, had a few spells that didn't go off because I rolled a 5, but I had Shadows on the Warp. So that was kind of unexciting. I did get Sanctuary on the Interceptor squad. Then I did make a charge finally with the Captain and Drago into the Hyrule. The Captain very calmly and efficiently slew the Hyrule, and I had Empiric Amplification on, so I did like 5 wounds and Immortal. He had 4 wounds left. It was beautiful. Then what does Mr. Rubin do? He rolls a flippin' 6. So the Hyrule explodes, deals 3 mortal wounds to them. I shrugged, and it was 3 to everybody. So I shrugged 2. Did he take the mortals, or was he not?
No, he was out.
Oh, that's right. It's only
Remember,
a 3-inch
because the
bubble.
brother captain was 3 inches away from that.
Yep. And then over here, this is where I cried. So we deep struck. I didn't expect him to make a charge because he would have had to go around the corner. But these guys, first to the fray, should have been fine. He rolled a 4.
Yeah,
and I spent my 1 command
like
point
5
and
or
re-rolled it
something.
into a 5. So a +1 doesn't do you any good when you do that. They rolled like a 4. It was great. Then the big Interceptor squad rolled like another 4. I needed a 6 to get to him. It was incredible. If I'd stuck with my original plan and attacked the Swarm Lord, then I would have had him dead, and I would hold that objective, and I might have actually scored something in my next turn, but I kind of doubt it. It's very painful. It was like as bad can get there. So yeah, I'm all hanging out in the wind, and it is what it is. So at the end of this battle round, I picked up another 2 for Bring It Down. I got 1 more Purifying Ritual. Ruben picked up yet another Grind Them Down, right? Yeah, because you killed 2 or 3 of my units last turn. So Grind Them Down, he got Stranglehold again, and then no Assassinate yet. But now my characters are all kind of just swinging around in the wind. So we'll be back. Tyranids turn 3. It's probably going to sting just a little. If I can survive it, then maybe there's still some things I could do, but I'm not going to hold my breath just yet. So we'll see. We'll be back. Turn 3 next. Oh, these Tyranids. Turn 3. They did work. Swarmlord was able to successfully cast 1 power, maybe?
Yep.
I think he got a 4 of invul off on that guy. Yeah. And then I denied the other. Then,
No, he didn't. He rolled Snake Eyes.
Oh, that's right. He hurt
for 2
himself.
mortal
He took
wounds.
2 mortal wounds. I denied something over here. It was a smite. And then did he do a second power? I'm
Yes,
trying to
you
remember.
denied them both.
I did deny those both, yeah. This has been the story of the game. I've been denying most of his psychic, but he's still getting off like 4 invuls on monsters where he needs them. So it's been kind of a back and forth. That's been interesting. Swarmlord mulched
Gotten
the
off, I
brother
think,
captain.
1 power a turn, actually.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've failed to deny 1 power return. I think is kind of how it's been. This guy did make his charge long enough that I couldn't daisy chain onto my objective. It was so bad. He did hit and take a couple wounds off of my champion. My champion hit and did like 1 wound against him. If I'd gotten 2 wounds through, this guy would be dead because the strike squad came in and did the wounding and took him down to 1 wound. That guy, 1 wound. I'm bitter.
Yeah.
I'm salty.
That
Of course, it
-1
is.
damage from a Crusher Stampede really makes a difference.
The -1 is making a huge difference.
It really is.
He also rudely shot my little interceptor squad that was tucked away back here, so I have nobody on that objective either. So he's being very mean to me. We're going to fix that in this turn, but I'm not thinking there's really any way to come back from where we're at points-wise. However, I'm going to kill stuff because I have to. I'm very, very disappointed in things right now. So we'll be back in just a minute for the Grey Knight's turn 3. Yeah, still turn 3. Whew. Okay, here we go. So the end of my turn, I did move the Tech Marine. So I took that objective, he purified it, because that's cool. Drago made a magnificent charge into the Swarmlord from an inch away. These guys, I sat them still. I tried to cast Hammerhand with them. They failed it, or it was denied, or both. And I didn't do any smiting because I had to kill that in melee to be able to consolidate onto the objective, which I've done. We'll see how long they stay alive. I did make the Interceptor squad have the Chapter Master reroll, and they charged in here, and I realized at some point during the fight phase, that I forgot to cast Empiric Amplification from Drago onto the Hyrule because I was in range for that and had planned to. So he's at 8 wounds still. Probably should have taken a few more than that if I remembered my spells. And that's, of course, if it didn't get denied and or failed to cast. So there are a lot of factors in that. Might not be entirely my fault, but I didn't even try. So that's the end of my turn. I got Bring It Down for getting rid of the Maliceptor. Purified Ritual 1 more time, and that's it. So I'm probably sitting on, 2, 4, 6, 9 points right now, folks. 9 points. It's not gone well. Yeah, and we'll be back turn 4 for the Tyranids next. The end of the Tyranids turn 4. He survived a volley of Hive Guard with a wound left. Ha ha ha. He is fallen back. It was kind of rude. So that Drago could then get shot by everything that was not tied up. And he died because it's a lot of shooting. Over here we did some combats. I lost 3 guys in shooting and then 1 in melee, and I took him down to a single wound. He was so close. But knowing my luck, he is going to die on an explosion and, do a bunch of mortal wounds, and I'm going to be sad. It's okay. I'm going to kill him anyways. These guys over here all got deleted. It's real bad, folks. We did pass morale, so that's something. And we'll play out our last turn 4 because why not? And then we'll show you the damage. This Crusher stuff has been wild. So a couple of things we haven't really talked about much yet. The Swarm Lord and all the monsters in the Crusher Stampede, they count number of bodies for the number of wounds they had. So the Swarm Lord alone was able to hold this objective 2 or 3 times because he had 4, 5, 6 wounds more than my 2 or 3 bodies on the objective. Over here, we were in a similar boat. Over there, we've been in the same boat, although he also has Obsec on that point, and I don't. But either way, he's been counting for enough to cancel out even my interceptors that were over there, much less getting to the other guys. So it's been kind of the Crusher stuff is wildly fun. So yeah, that's been great for him. We'll be back in a moment for my turn 4 and probably the end of the game, I would have to imagine. Okay, boys and girls, thanks for watching. I just told Ruben I might delete this video. Might get disappeared into the warp. So, that was a smack and Rooney. That was insane. I'm very much impressed with their new rules. I will say, I don't know, maybe I could have played some things differently, but what y'all didn't see was me failing almost every save for at least 3 turns, and not wounding on many occasions when I felt like I probably should have. So there was a whole lot of bad dice for me, and that's never a good excuse. So it also means I didn't play some things right. But this -1 damage on every monster was insane. My interceptors couldn't smite him. I didn't even show you. At the end of turn 4, technically, I didn't move them. I just set them there so they could smite. Then they would charge into the warriors, and I would take that and just have some vindication. It was all it was going to do. Then over here, the Tech Marine peeked around the corner to smite him. Also
for
failed.
what's worth, that Tech Marine did boss level his saves.
He did.
And survived Hive Guard shooting at him.
He did. He went kind of crazy, and so I do applaud him for that. But he failed to smite. They failed to smite. So the end of that last turn was kind of rough. In combat, my interceptors, they got hit first, of course, because of the way Order of Operations works. But the 2 guys that remained killed him. I had to use a CP reroll because I didn't wound. But my last reroll turned into a 6, which was the mortal wound that killed the Hierodual, which also did not explode. So my 2 guys were still alive. That was nice. Except then they had Tyranid Warriors, Hive Guard, all shooting at them in the next turn. So we just kind of quietly picked up all the models. And that guy did not survive to 3 rounds or 2 rounds of Hive Guard. The Tech Marine was deleted. It's kind of crazy. So the damage reduction is massive. The 5-up invuls, I feel like you made a fair few of those too. I think it mattered quite a bit.
Invuls, yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice having invuls on Hieroduals without having to pay for them.
Exactly. It was kind of amazing. You get a 5-up anything and it helps. Mm-hmm. I made 5-up saves on some mortals, but they weren't exciting and it wasn't happening often because I was denying so many psychic things. But it didn't matter when his 5-ups were everywhere. It was awesome. I truly thought
all over the place made a big difference. Like, it's not that I spiked on any particular unit that made a huge impact, but over the course of the game on all the units, it made a difference.
It made a big difference. Like, I thought coming into this, like, oh yeah, we'll have monsters. We'll get into them with some buffed up units. We'll tie them up or kill them. It won't be a big deal. And I'll work on warriors. That was my expectation. Speedy. I can move into range, attack, and charge. It'll be great. Failed almost all my charge rolls in turn 2, I think.
That was brutal. Yeah.
That was pretty bad. And then once I was in my tide with exploding or the 6s do mortals, I rolled like 5 6s. I was like, what is this? All the guys in melee did not do a lot. So there was some weird okay, I felt like I was ready to rock and roll and do some work, and then nothing did. It's really funny. Whatever. It was a fun game. It's a really cool game. The Stampede, the Crusher Stampede thing is pretty insane. I love it. Very much impressed with how they played, how resilient they are. And I thought Tyranids would struggle having to take bigger, the warriors, they're a little slower. They're not, swarming on objectives like your Hormigons. You don't have your little throwaway units. And I thought it would be harder for you. But my goodness. And I already talked about the model count for bodies, or the wound count, for the monsters counting for the number of bodies.
Several turns.
It impacted all kinds of stuff. So these rules, spectacular. And he did not run Leviathan, as we pointed out earlier. He ran Behemoth, and Leviathan even has access to a few more things that would have, I don't know how much it would have impacted this game in particular. But I mean, this is gnarly. I killed the monsters and that was it. And I didn't even kill the Swarm Lord. I didn't kill a single unit of anything else. I wounded warrior squad over there and wounded a warrior squad there. And that was all that I did that was not directed into monsters. And I tried to hide as much as I could from big things. Couldn't hide from the Hive Guard, but from the big things, I tried to stay out of the line of sight all over
There were a
the
couple
place.
times where Hyrule couldn't make a charge through the terrain and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
Neither could the Dreadknight, so we
Yeah.
realized that after. We're like, oh
Yeah.
man, we didn't do that right.
I may
right there in
consider
particular.
swapping out Hyrules for the Dimacarons.
Oh, yeah.
Because they can
Those are-
ignore the terrain.
right, they just
and
climb
that makes
over
a
it.
big difference.
Those things are pretty scary.
They are very scary. And they
Yeah.
work great in a Leviathan list also.
Yeah. So
They could work here. They could work
It
here.
was pretty gnarly. So what are your thoughts? Do you have an MVP out of this business? Because you had a lot of stuff doing what it needed to do.
Man, I'd say that my my Assassin Bug Flyrant, it
Yeah.
failed the first round of attacks against you, but even then I
Yeah.
had to spend a bunch of CP. But he did what he needed to do and took out
Sure.
that
The Dreadknight, the Grandmaster.
Grandmaster Dreadknight right off the bat. Mm-hmm. And just the ability to reach out and touch things. I mean, that set the pace for the game right there. It took away his
Yep.
OBSEC.
Yeah, that's true.
Which
The OBSEC
meant that my
aura-
monsters could continue to
Yeah.
hold the other objectives
That
and
was the
keep
other
you
thing I
off of
forgot,
primaries. I think even though he died in your first turn,
Mm-hmm.
I think he set the pace for the game just doing that. And having that kind of reach and that small of a base to be able to get around the terrain,
Yes.
I think that makes a big difference.
It was pretty magnificent, and that was one thing. What do you call it? Strategically, I could have done better because I had him here and I moved him, did the little teleport shenanigan, and Hive Tyrant was over there, so I could have moved my Dreadknight back here to be out of range for charging, and then I would have still had OBSEC that could have moved up the board, and it would have made it that much harder. That might be the only thing I can think of that if I hadn't left him in range for an easy charge, because I did forget about his double move. Yeah, completely forgot he was going to do that with the Swarm Lord. But that guy, he hit so hard. And to the Dreadknight not dying, I was like, yeah, what's up? I'm going to kill him. And if I'd been in my tied with the Mortals on 6s, the Hive Tyrant would have died. He wouldn't have been able to... Well, he would have
I would have
again,
fought on
'cause
death.
they
It
can
would have
do that
actually
now.
been better for me because I would have spent
Right.
less CP to do it.
Right, yeah, it would have worked better. So it's probably fine. But it's pretty crazy that he didn't kill him in one go. But yeah, I mean, this is just a cool list. And it's so different.
Yeah, you
I mean,
feel like one invulnerable save that first
Yeah.
time around.
yeah,
Out of all
it
those.
was gnarly.
That was pretty.
Um,
That's why I think Leviathan has a really good chance there because they can do those super relic bone swords that ignore invulnerable saves.
Yep.
Which is perfect for taking out the other hard targets
Exactly. That's
that my
super
fire cannot.
super sassy. Yeah, so that was a super fun game. It was cool to see it in action. I am sad. I would play the same list again though. I feel like this was just kind of wonky. I don't know. He played it really well, and his stuff didn't die. It's very disappointing.
One
That's
thing
fun.
I failed to do multiple turns.
Oh yeah.
And I kept having the 1 CP left over
Yep.
to do it.
He saved the CP
Was
for it.
the new
The crushing force or thunderous.
what's it called? Breaking through
Breaking
stratagem.
through, yeah. We do
To,
mortals on the charge.
All the mortals
right?
on the charge. Yep. I could have killed your character over here.
You say that. I would have shrugged those.
You
would have spent
You
the
know what, with
CP,
your dice, you
and
might
I
have
would have.
shrugged those. You
I
did
would have.
pretty good shrugging
Those
mortals.
would have been the only things I shrugged. The only
true.
thing my dice could do today was deny psychic powers, and I shrugged a few mortals here and there. But yeah, it was. We did forget that one a couple times, but yeah, it was
forgot
fun.
it here in the middle.
Yep,
Forgot it over
forgot it
there.
in the center.
And I forgot it with my Flyrant on
Yeah,
your
the Flyrant and the
Dreadknight over
Dreadknight in
there
the
on
beginning.
very first turn.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Still a few things to learn and get used to, but that
sure.
could have been pretty brutal.
For sure. Super fun. Appreciate you, sir, making a trip out. And yeah, hope y'all enjoyed
Thanks for the game, man.
Yes, sir. Oop, got to do the switch. Ha! It's been a blast.
Excellent.
Until next time.